So about the agenda for today. First of all, we will have the introduction to the Shield for Crowd project. We will look about what we are going to do, about the rationale. We'll look on the use cases, the pilots. For those of you who were present during the online webinars, this will be an extended version, so we'll also focus a little bit more on the requirements for each of the pilots, and the pilots will be presented by the pilots leaders, so you will know the people who are behind each of the use cases, each of the pilots. And we will also look at the requirements for the project. So this will be also an updated version of the requirements compared to what you saw during the webinars online. Later on, we'll present you with the state-of-the-art analysis. So this is the work that we did to understand what is currently available on the market and what are the gaps that we would like to address. Then we'll have a coffee break. After that, we will look at the objectives of our meeting today of the OMC, and then we'll have an interactive sessions where we would like to ask you about like few questions, and then it will be time for you also to ask us questions. And after lunch, we will have the matchmaking session. So we'll have a short introduction. Then we'll have the pitch presentations. I received the slides from the technology providers who are here on site and also from the ones online. And after that, we'll leave you the space just to talk among yourselves, like look for potential collaborators. So this will be the time for you to use to build collaborations. I just want to say that the aim of today's meeting is, first of all, to introduce you with the project, with our aim, with what we are planning to do, but also ask about your feedback about its feasibility within the time frame that we have, within all the requirements. And it will help us to shape the future tender. So all the comments that you are providing us today are very crucial for us. So they will help us to further refine the tender documents. We'll take them into considerations. So if there are some things that you will see, like with the requirements that you are thinking that, okay, that might be challenging within the time frame or within the budget, please just let us know. This is very important information. So that's what I would like to stress before we'll be starting. Okay, so about the project. So Shield for Crowd is a project which is founded by the European Union. It gathers first responders, police authorities, technology providers to co-create an innovative solution for public spaces protection. And the aim is to equip the security stakeholders with innovative technologies to respond to the security threats and security needs that they have. And for this, we are using the pre-commercial procurement approach to transform the needs of the end users into future solutions. So first of all, we want to foster innovation, as already mentioned, and empower public buyers with providing them new technologies, and also contribute to increasing the impact of the work on the security landscape in the European ecosystem. So how we started? Before Shield PCP, we had a project called Shield for Crowd, where it was foundation for this project, where we looked at all the threats that are encountered by the operators in public spaces, like police, ministries, transport operators, to identify what are the main problems and what are the technological gaps they would like to address. So we conducted needs analysis, market analysis. We also had open market consultations over there. And from that, we identified one challenge for which we now have the Shield PCP project. So what we understood during that project was that the public spaces, especially crowded spaces, and their protection requires a collaboration between multiple actors, from the operators of the stadiums or transport operators, public operators, to public security providers, police, and other first responders. And we saw that for them, what is most important is to have one operational picture that at the same time, and also having secure communication between all the different actors involved, and also that everybody sees the information that they need. And here are four capability areas that the Shield PCP project is focusing on. So first of all is command center coordination, then secure communication, crowd monitoring, and movement monitoring. And for mainly the project addresses functionalities related to advanced monitoring and solution awareness, focusing on collection, aggregation, and presentation of information for the end users in a way that it allows for understanding of all the operational situation of what's going on in the security environment. So now a little bit more about the four main capability areas. First of all, as I mentioned, we have the command center coordination. So what we would like to achieve in this project would be to establish the integrated command center to synthesize all the information coming on in a central hub for operational control. Also, this information should provide a real-time view of the security of environment of what's going on. Then it also should enable integration and fusion of data from multiple sources and systems. So yeah, once again, we have one picture, so it can be set up from security cameras, from other sensors that are in use. And lastly, is to support the processing of diverse type of data. So we can have video, image, text, speech, other information, and we would like to have them fused and integrated. For the second component, we have secure communication. So here we would like to achieve reliable and secure communication channels to support coordination among the security actors in crisis situation, but also to enable efficient public information. Then we would like the communication to remain dependable and secure systems. And lastly, it should be resilient tools that are capable of delivering rapid alerts and operational guidelines to support the public. Then for the crowd monitoring. So we said that in public spaces, mainly we have situations where there are crowds, a lot of people, especially in train stations or stadium during the matches. So here we would like to have functions that enable us monitoring of crowd dynamics, especially in this high density and fast moving situations. We would like to employ advanced tracking technologies to analyze in real time the data on crowd density, movement patterns, and to detect any behavioral abnormalities. And lastly, to detect changes in crowd conditions and hazardous behavior. And for the last area, which is the movement monitoring, here we have such functions as tracking of the movement of large groups or identified people of interest, also real-time insight into the individual groups or groups' behavior, and then it will help to support precise and targeted action in response to any emergency risks coming up from the hazardous behavior. So these were the main areas that we would like to focus on, and about our goals. First of all, we would like to refine and validate the technological and operational needs of security operators, and this is what we are currently doing in the project. Then we want to build a strong network of public buyers and end users across Europe. So as you know, we have 4 public buyers in the project plus 1 end user, but we also have an extended network of security observatory group, which are end users who are also supporting us in drafting the projects and drafting the requirements. So they're our advisory body and potentially also the future user of the solution that will be created as part of Shield PCP. What we would like to do at the end of the project is to develop a prototype and validate the new security tool in the PCP process in 3 pilot actions. Then at the same time, we want to ensure that the future solution will be ethical and legal, so it will meet all of the standards and can be further deployed on the market. And lastly, we would like to work on preparing a pathway for market adaptation. So we would like to see how the solution can be further on developed on the market after the end of the project. So some information about the project. As you know, like, it's a project which is funded by Horizon Europe. It's a 3-year project. It started in October last year, and it will last until the end of September 2028. Altogether, we have 12 partners from 7 countries. And here you have the website of the project, which you all already visited because you registered via the website to be here today. Here you can see our consortium partners. So we have Corvers, which is the expert in innovation procurement and pre-commercial procurement. We have 4 public buyers, which are the Ministry of Interior of Spain, the Ministry of Interior of France, the Slovak Ministry of Interior and SNCF, plus also additional end user, which is the ESME Institute from Slovakia. And then we have experts in technology who are supporting us, such as Safe Cluster and Novadays, and expert on exploitation, which is the GNOV, and as a Polish platform for Homeland Security, we are acting coordinator, and we're also responsible for dissemination of the project results. So what we expect at the end of the project, as I told you, we have these 4 main components that we are looking for. We are looking at improving the communication and clear operational view of different end users involved in crowd situation, in monitoring of those events. And we know that the pre-commercial procurement process ends up with a development of a prototype solution, not with an end solution that is already at the market. So we would like to have this prototype, which will be tested and validated in 3 operational sites, which will be in France, Spain, and Slovakia. And we also like those future solutions that will not be ready for the market, but we would like to have a roadmap to future for future deployment through other mechanisms, such as public procurement of innovative solutions or any other mechanism. And this is to strengthen the cooperation across Europe in the public space domain. So this is a little bit where are we now. So in the PCP approach, we have here 5 different phases. So the first one you can see, it's the preparatory phase, where we are once again looking at the end users' needs. We are further refining them. We're looking once again at the analysis of the state of the art of the market, what is available, and we are conducting market analysis. So this is where we are. And then we are going to the tender phase. So it will be where we will publish the prior information notice, which was done already in the project. We will invite the tender. So the tender will be opened. It will be the time for the companies and technology providers to send their offers. And then after the proposal will be evaluated and contract awarded, we will start the 3 PCP phases. So the first phase is a solution design with the idea of having there around 5 public buyers. Then we'll go to the prototype test with fewer public buyers. And then lastly, operational validation with 2 contractors or consortia, which will be testing their solutions in the operational environment. So a little bit more about the 3 main phases that, as technology providers, you are most interested in. That will be the part, if your applications will be accepted, that's where we will be working on. So first of all, we have the solution design. We are we are expecting that this phase will last around 3 months. And the idea is to provide a blueprint of your solution So we are not expecting at this stage any prototypes or anything. We would like to see how your solution works on paper. And this will be further elaboration of what you will already provide us in your offers during the tendering phase. Then the technology providers that will qualify for the next phase will go to the phase 2, which is the prototype development and testing. And we are expecting that this phase will last 9 months. And here we would like you to develop a solution, a prototype, which will be tested in lab conditions. So we would still like to test it to see whether it meets the requirements that are set up by the public buyers, but still not in real environment. The real environment testing will be in phase 3, which we are expecting to last around 6 months. And here we have the 3 pilots that we will tell you about in details in a while. In between these phases, we also have the time to analyze the contract. So after each phase will end, the technology providers who will be in phase 1, they will provide us with the design of their solution, and then those solutions will be evaluated by our procurement committee, and then we'll award the tender. So in between the phases that you will see, we are already foreseeing the time for the evaluation of the proposals. And here I would like to see you the budget for phases and the number of contractors that we are foreseeing for each of the phase. So for the phase number 1, the total budget, it's around 450,000 euros. And we are planning to have around 5 contractors in this phase. For phase 2, the total budget is 2,250,000 euros. And the number of contractors that we are foreseeing in this phase is 3. And then for the last phase, the budget that we are foreseeing is 900,000 euros with 2 contractors. Okay, and now we're ready for the presentation of the use cases. So as I said, we'll have the use case pilot leaders for each of the use cases, and we'll be starting with the Slovak pilot and with Michaela.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. I'm from Slovak Ministry of Interior, and I see the yes. Thank you. And basically, our use case focuses on Žilina football stadium, where we are testing the limits of crisis management under high pressure conditions. In this scenario, we are simulating a high-risk football match, which escalates because of ultras ignite smoke shells. This creates a high threat environment, including fire, zero visibility, and also blocked escape routes, and which also triggering mass panic among the people. So to manage this, we need to focus on as quick as possible multi-agency response involving police, firefighters, and also medical services. Basically, our requirements are pretty much the same as the common requirements from this project, so I will make it very brief. Can I see the next slide, please? Sure. At start, we can divide our requirements into 2 groups, as I can say, the surveillance and the coordination and communication part. Our operational needs begins with proactive crowd surveillance, which means that we require real-time visualization. For example, heat maps to monitor passenger flow, and we need to instantly detect overcrowding or some blockades in critical sectors. From a security standpoint, we need early event identifiers, which means that the system must detect panic triggers or some special appearance. For example, for objects or suspicious group behavior. We need it especially before this situation occurs. We also require the ability to track these specific individuals or group behavior in a real time. And if it's possible, we need also their historical movement track. The second part, the coordination and communication requirements, is mostly based on integrated command center. For us, it is very important that all agencies operated from one common operational center, which means that this single interface must consolidate live video, sensor data, and alerts into preferably digital replica of the stadium or other place. On our interactive map, we must be able to see the real-time position of our responders, exits, and also hazard zones to coordinate the evacuation. This system also must support our commanders with action recommendations, for example, some AI system, to speed up the decision making. And finally, we need to secure the communication channel to public, which means that the system must provide predefined and reliable messages to guide spectators towards safe routes using, for example, stadium screens and mobile apps or something similar. And it will be great if these messages remain editable for our staff to have more control about the broadcasting information. I think that's all from our side. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Now we can move to the second pilot, which will be the Spanish one.
Thank you. I will show you today the scenario that the Spanish National Police has proposed in this project. And this also happens in a football stadium. In particular, we have thought in the Metropolitan Stadium of Atlético de Madrid. And during a football match, we detect an identified group of drones. They attach to the public, and one of them that have attached, they approach, to the public, and then one of them that have attached a grenade explodes, causing panic through the public, and the subsequent events related with this critical situation. So for us, the focus in this kind of situations is first to detect and neutralize this type of drones. Second, the creation of a common operational picture across different agencies that operates in the field. And third, a system that can control or supervise the movement of the crowd, and also a system of secure communications with the public to guide them through the evacuation. So this is our focus, and our requirements are in the next two slides, I guess, are these ones. There is a lot of words here. I think you cannot see it from behind, but I just will comment them. The first one, and for us, what we have put here is what we consider mandatory. That is, first, the system to control and neutralize the drones. This is for us the principal target of this project. And also the crowd monitoring and analytics. And also the creation of a system to have a situational awareness picture of the situation. Because with that, we can react to a situation like this and control the evacuation safely. So that's all from my side. Well, here you have a lot of requirements, but these are mainly the ones that I have already said.
Okay, and then we can go to the third pilot, which will be here in France, in Paris, and we will have Celine present it.
Hi, I'm Céline from SNCF, the Security Directorate. So the pilot for the French part is between the French Ministry of Interior and SNCF. So there's two actors, and we will have the support of other teams such as the police, the gendarmerie, the different teams involved in different incidents in the station. So the scenario is regarding multiple knife attacks going inside the station and the surrounding streets and causing some chaos around the travelers. In Gare, we have daily 700,000 passengers. So of course, when there's an incident, there's a lot of disruptions on the operational trains and on the situation in the train station. And the focus will be on the main components that Nina already shared with you and also the other pilots. I will go to the next slide. Sorry for the one at the back, it's really small, but we will share the slide with you. So what we imagine actually for Shield PCP development is to have a common operational picture and a digital platform where we will have all the information that we need on what is going on in the station. So for example, some heat maps on the crowd situation, if it's like green and everything is fine, or if there's a lot of crowd that are unusual. When we will want to have some real-time visual alerts, if something is happening like a crowd movement, a knife attack, or any incidents in the station, we would like to have an alert and to have directly the cameras that's showing the area where the issue is happening. So you will have access to cameras. We want to have some early event indicators to have like the list of events happening. If it's a knife attack, that maybe the camera or the sensors or any data highlighted, then we want to see that there's a knife attack in order to prioritize all the events in the station. The evacuation and congestions alert, if there's some areas or exits that are blocked or there's too many people in these areas. We want to have some movement monitoring, so to follow the individuals or groups. And if, for example, there's a knife attack, then we want to also find the person, the author of the crime, and to follow his path around the station. For the communication, it's the same as the other pilots. We want to have a secure way of disseminating messages to the crowd in order to help them to go to the right exit and to have organized evacuation. And for the integrated command center on the right, we want like a common operational picture, of course. As I said, there's multiple actors in the station, so we have to have the same information in order to know what we have to do and who is the responder, the first responder, who has to do what, based on the process that are already defined or will be defined during the pilot. Some geospatial visualization, action recommendation, and some incident reporting. So I think it's basically, we have the same common requirements as the other pilots, but for us, it's going to happen in the train station. That's all from the side. If you have any questions during the breaks, I'm available.
Thank you to all the pilot leaders. And yeah, now you know who will be responsible for each of the pilots, so who to ask about any particular questions you may have. And we saw the pilots and the requirements connected to each of the pilots separately, but now we would like to show you like the requirements for the projects collected all together. So Yusuf, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will help you with the slides. Actually, thank you also for the pilot leaders, because they showed already what they needed, and the methodology that we have followed in this project is, I mean, pretty consolidated, where we started with defining the use cases related to the different pilot locations, and also the end users. They knew exactly what they wanted in terms of gaps and needs, and so we went in a structured approach in order to identify exactly which are the let's say their needs. And based on that, what we did is, of course, the challenge is to put everything together, because we needed to publish one tender that has everything inside, that represents the different locations, but also that they satisfy the needs of each location. So we did let's say a structured work in order also to agree to prioritize the different requirements. We end up with a very long list of requirements composed of functional, non-functional, and technical system requirements, and also we have some compliance requirements that we have done. They will be kind of we're in the final stage of finalizing the priority of deciding which ones that are must-have, and let's say the one that will be a kind of nice to have within the tender documents. And Also, we divided them by category of, let's say, functionalities. The one that we saw that for us, it's important, of course, in order to understand what the systems of platforms will deliver. So as you can see here, you have heard a lot about command operational pictures. So this is, for us, it's important. As you can see, priority is a core operational capability that needs to be developed. And we here, of course, it's we try to summarize the key, let's say, the key descriptions. But of course, for sake of we are under a public tender, we cannot disclose now the list of the requirements, the detailed one that you will find under the let's say the tender documentation. So here there are some let's say part that needs to deal with the scope, and of course it needs to have real-time synchronized common operational pictures, integrating different data sources. We're talking about video, sensor feeds, geolocalization data, incident reports. So of course we need, of course, to understand all the different systems that exist on place. We have also, of course, this dashboard that help the users with different let's say responsibilities to manage the situation from different aspects, and also coordinate the different security forces. As you know, depending on the situation, there are police forces, there are emergency, let's say, teams, they are first responders, and depends on those, of course, these guys to be coordinated under one system. Continuous data and dynamic data synchronization, because of course, especially when there are incidents, a lot of data is triggered, is generated, and also alerts according to different systems that are on place. So we don't want to replicate existing systems. It's the use and integration of already existing systems in this COP let's say system that needs to be evaluated. Second one, crowd monitoring analytics. As you see, the project itself is around crowd. So in each situation where we need to manage security problems related to the crowd management. So of course, we're talking about AI-driven real-time analytics for the detection of abnormal crowd behavior, panic triggers, density anomalies. So all these situations that for us create, let's say, some issues in the management. So we would like the prediction, we would like the real-time management, and also the post-incident management. So we have different stages. So the predictive modeling, automatic alerting workflows. So all this information will be, of course, detailed in the specific requirements. Geolocalization tracking and geofencing are important because we are in places where the movement of the crowds, but also the first responder security, they move. It's a dynamic situation, and also we have data coming from different places. So it's important for us to have this kind of geolocalization and the tracking of the different stakeholders within the chain. Also, there is, of course, in Spain, there was the need and the clear identification of the drone and anti-drone management. So here we're talking about detection, classification, tracking of authorized and unauthorized, because especially in your pilot, we see now each time in the soccer game that always there are drones. So there are authorized drones for the fixtures, for other users, but also we need to understand which ones are authorized and non-authorized. Integration of data with crowd maps and responders. So this is very important because the drones itself, there is the detection, but also those that normally provide other sources of data, and interfaces with lawful counter drone systems and other feeds. So, but also the details are, I guess, were represented by the colleague from Spain. Behavior traits detection also is really important. It helps in terms of also in the prediction side, because of course we need algorithms based on AI that help in the detection of coordinated hostile behaviors, or here when we talk about non-biometric violence acts, really important the non-biometric, because otherwise we will face a lot of issues. We have many past projects about let's say the behavior detection when we use biometric data. So it needs, of course, that since the beginning, since the design, that no biometric data it will be used or processed within the project. Identification of suspicious objects and weapons like artifacts or knives in the case of the French pilot, and also, of course, GDPR compliance, because really important. And you will see also that we have also some GDPR compliance requirements. also, and also from a system side, of course, we need to have this all the information that needs to have because it needs to be processed in real time, but also it needs to be reused after. So we need the login, post-incident analysis, and evidence. And why not also understanding if we could be compatible also with the chain of custody, because sometimes this information will be used by the when there are incidents by the judicial systems. So we need to ensure that nothing has been tampered. We have also specific requirements. You will find them about interoperability, about decision support, and AI, the use of artificial intelligence technologies, especially with regards to the algorithms and the explainability of the let's say of the results provided. And also here, of course, there are other categories. It's a long list, actually. We are talking about, there was information about public information alerting. It's very important that we adapt to the new ways of providing information to the public. So, I mean, that's, of course, there are traditional ones existing, as they say, the screens in the stadiums or in the stations. But of course, we need to be more innovative to use how now the population use and they are informed. So this is important because we need to provide them the right information at the right moment, but also in a way that it is maximizing the widespread. Of course, it is natural that we have multimedia intelligence and video management systems integration, because most of the time we'll be using and analyzing video feeds. Multi-agency platform and deployment. So, of course, this is because we are dealing with different agencies there. The command hierarchy and workflows is important because, of course, we need to understand, of course, rule-based, who acts, who can take a decision, who needs to receive the information based on the different rules that needs to be identified. Of course, there was the integration of data from multiple sources. We need, of course, to ensure access control and data management. There are some also performance and latency requirements that, of course, we wanted to establish. As you can see, we really depend on real-time processing. So it will be very important in our project also in terms of evaluations, the need to connect to the communication also to networks. I guess, also on the compliance, on the compliance side also, as you can see, GDPR and fundamental rights is at the core, so it's very important. And this sometimes the success, or if we can go further with the development, depends on our respects and compliance with this part. Otherwise, everything could be stopped because we are not compliant with, for example, GDPR part. AI. We know that there is also the AI Act, so there is, and we expect that from now on, all technologies use AI technology. So it's really important that you comply also with the requirements, and also critical infrastructure, the SIR directive, but also the NIS directive about cybersecurity. It's really important because we wanted also to analyze it, because by definition, a stadium, a train station, it can be considered as a critical infrastructure and must also comply with the different requirements. Of course, we are in a phase of checking them, prioritizing them in order to understand if our project can, and you guys, technology providers, could fulfill all the requirements within the time frame, within the budget that is provided, within let's say the scope of the project. So it will be for us, let's say, something that will be finalized in the next week in order to understand and provide a kind of priority of the different sub requirements, so that we will, of course, exactly show you what exactly for us it is mandatory. So that is a pass-fail, where, of course, you know that this is a must-have, and those that, of course, will be subject to innovative competition between the different actors, and to see how they will fulfill the other requirements. This is also the presentation of the state of the art, because, of course, the colleagues, or maybe they will be presented, but anyway, we saw it that the PCP instrument itself, it's a phased approach where, of course, it's not a normal procurement where we define your requirements, we go for the tender. Sometimes let's say some organization, they do their prior art, but it's not structured as this process. So the idea, of course, is we need to understand exactly what exists there. So we did this already in the previous project, and we wanted to update the state of the art analysis in order to see how if there are some interesting innovations that we could, and we imagine that could help us achieve our requirements. Otherwise, there is no motivation that we go for a PCP. So we wanted to understand what exists there. And here, of course, what we did different elements. One is the, let's say, the SOTA analysis based on understanding exactly the literature overview and also what exists there in terms of patents, publications, and standards. And we acknowledge the fact that what we are looking for mainly it will be software solutions. So and it is hardly, I mean, we see that normally most of the, let's say, software solutions, they are very hard to protect them using patents. So, but of course, we want to at least understand exactly what exists there, because sometimes it gives us indications on the terms of innovation and what is being done by research centers or large, let's say, innovation organizations. So we established the idea is to establish a targeted and up-to-date SOTA baseline by systematically identifying relevant patents and standards using requirements-derived keywords. So it's really important that, of course, we wanted, and when we analyzed the SOTA, it was done based on the requirement that we have identified and from which we extracted the keywords. We ensure coverage, accuracy, and relevance through iterative keyword refinements, because, of course, this work has been started some months ago, and in the meanwhile, we were working on the use cases, on the initial drafts of the requirements, second one. So at each time we refine somehow the keywords so that we can enhance the results of the SOTA analysis, and of course to generate an evidence-based foundation to support subsequent TRL assessments. Because of course not only we identified and analyzed existing patents and standards, but also we try to link them with some relevant let's say technologies, and we wanted also to understand what is the level of maturity of such technologies in the market. So I mean, this is the methodology, as you can see. So we did this patents and standards identification of keywords in order to help us identify them, and we used the IPlytics search platform in order to launch the searches. And of course, based on the information that we receive, we receive a huge amount of the data. So of course, we needed to dig deeper in order to analyze them and extract only those that are relevant to our project. And as we said, the keywords were refined, and also we decided to limit our search only on the last decade or the last 10 years in order, of course, to be, let's say, more let's say relevant, because as you know, of course, technology evolves, and we decided that maybe all the technologies or patents than 2015 wouldn't be as much relevant as possible to our project. So this is the list of keywords. I guess maybe it was updated. It had passed a last update, but most of them there was this keywords that we used in order to launch the searches using the IPlytics platform. And this is examples of the way we did it. How we did it, of course, it's not automatic where you submit and launch the search. It is a work of fine-tuning, creating different queries and looking at the results. And sometimes we received thousands of results, which was not relevant to our projects. Others, so we needed to fine-tune until we found some, let's say, something that makes sense. And after that, what we had a stop and in order to check and analyze the main findings, but in most of the results, according to the queries, the tendency and the trends were similar. So here, when we identified more than 958 patents, with 76 being strongly relevant to our use cases, because sometimes also the relevance is important, and sometimes we found only some side technology that could be integrated, but they don't answer exactly to what we need. And from this, from 83 patents worldwide, only were filed within EU. And so this is for us important. It gives us a kind of, let's say that a lot of innovations is non-EU based, China, US, Japan, and other countries. But of course, this is important also in line with what the European Commission wants towards EU autonomy for the security market. So it's really important that we would like to encourage European organizations, partners, technology providers to bring their technologies to a higher maturity level. Some of the results is according to some of the key, let's say, requirement areas or features that we would like. So these ones represented strong patent coverage in core building blocks. Sometimes as technology providers, so here remember that we're talking about the patents and literature. We're not talking about mature solutions that, for example, you already have on the market. In terms of let's say innovation, so these ones represent a strong, let's say, coverage. So these components demonstrate strong maturity in analytics, sensing, and situational awareness, while the other ones, you can change. We feel that there is some gaps identified with the insufficient patent coverage. So these components are essential for integrated multi-agency operations. And of course, this is from a literature analysis. Yes. So other results, no single patents for existing solutions covers the full range of Shield PCP requirements. This is, I can clearly state it that also from market solutions, we don't see that, of course, but it was expectable that there is no one single solution in the market that covers all our requirements. There are very mature technologies provided by those that are present here, but also connected online. But of course, they fulfill only parts of our requirements, and we expect that a good integration of the different requirements, different components, will increase the TRL of the expected Shield PCP platform. If you would like to go a little bit in details about the main results here, we saw that, of course, in terms of the technical relevance, which indicates a patent's importance based on how often is cited. So in terms of literature, of course, the highest TRL would say that it's, the highest tier, which is technical relevance, say that it was cited by different other researchers. We can see that I guess this is Europe, and within Europe only IntelLead's patents share, but records a lot technical relevance. But of course, in general, because we can see in the next slide, which talks about the world, and I guess here in the world, we're excluding Europe, we can see that in contrast, in the global landscape, excluding Europe, is dominated by high technical relevance applicants. But these are some of the organizations, and which shows that, of course, there is a high superiority in terms of research and innovation of these organizations outside Europe. Also, other, let's say, the next slide, other index, it's this market coverage that we can see here. We're talking about the commercial use of the patents, let's say in a commercial settings. We see that a similar trend, that in Europe, of course, patent activity is characterized by uniformly low market coverage. Of course, I already started at the beginning, the fact that in software markets, we tend not to go for protecting, let's say, our innovation using a patent. We use other, let's say, means of protecting the innovation. That also we would like to work with the technology providers in order to understand how they will be protecting their innovations from other competition. But I guess that if we can see the next slide, the same trend here also, we see that the market coverage in terms of usage of the patents in commercial solutions is very high in worldwide rather than Europe. Also, in terms of the market overview, let's say the patent activity shows a gradual increase in anywhere, also in Europe, compared to the last decade, especially in the period of fluctuations, maybe because there was a lot of first the international economic crisis that impacted many sectors, and after that also there was the period of COVID. So we see a lot of fluctuations, and since last year we see that a steady increase, which we expect that they will continue in the coming years. The geography, patent activity is highly concentrated. So you can see here some colors, and in Europe it's a lot of dark, very few, let's say, blue colors, which means that, of course, we are really lacking some strong from the research part, let's say. TRL assessment. So what we did after this literature review and analysis, we try to assess the maturity of the technology domains. So based on each patent, we provided some technology domains, the ones that according to our analysis, they are very relevant to the project. So we proposed 3 top technology domains for each patent. And we try to analyze also their maturity level at market level, identify, of course, the technology baseline of underlying concepts relevant to our project. So this is important, and determine whether existing technological domains already cover all or only partial requirements categories. So so we did the patent screening, technology, TRL assessment. So a justified TRL level was assigned. So we didn't only provide a TRL, we provided also justification why it was assigned such a technology readiness level based on evidence of validation, prototype, and operational testing. Markets application and application mapping. Also, we try to identify example applications, how such patents were used in the markets, of course, were available. And the requirements coverage analysis, each technology was mapped to the relevant shield PCP requirements category. So also we made this link to say that, of course, such patents or such technology area has been used in order to map or to fulfill, for example, some of the requirements that were already identified within the project. Of course, the main of the result is that none of the technologies of the patents covered all our technology areas, which is, of course, understandable. And objective is to verify whether current technologies collectively cover all, most, or only specific clusters. And of course, we can state that most of them cover only few clusters, some of them more than one, but of course, none of them covers all our requirements. Yeah, so this is, let's say, the summary table of the assessment. As you can see, the worldwide, excluding EU, and the EU only. And you can see the concentration of the TRL that we have identified. It's more between TRL 4, 5, and 6, with an average TRL of 5. In EU, the same. I mean, it's a little bit between 5 and 6. It was 5.6 or something like this. But even here, the concentration of the research part, it is around TRL 5, 6, sometimes even 7. But of course, the numbers are very few, as you can see. Yeah. Maybe just takeaways. We can say that the assessment concerns the maturity of technology domains described in the patent publications. But also, this is what I have said. So the maturity is between 5 and 6. The EU subset shows a slightly stronger positioning, but the number of analysis is very few, of course, but still minimal presence at higher TRL. How it impacts our PCP, of course, the market is technologically active, but not operationally mature. Remember, we're talking about the research and the protection of patents. We're not talking about market solutions that already exist. There is all, because the idea, the PCP invites not only technology providers, but call for tenders. Also, research organizations can participate in developing the solution. So this is why we expect that, for example, some research organizations that already have, let's say, their research in lab, they can use it in order to enhance and propose some solutions. There is a clear transition gap from demonstration to qualification and large-scale deployments. We hope that, of course, within the projects here, we are, of course, allowing for qualification. And after that, of course, they need to go for a large-scale deployment beyond TRL 8. And yeah, the next slide, let's see what's this is another activity that deals with your solution, I mean, as technology providers. And as you can see, ongoing, because we wanted to keep it until the last, because we're still receiving answers to the request for information. And we base the analysis based also on the information that you provide. So we assess the availability and maturity of commercial off-the-shelf solutions provided by EU technology companies. So all the information that we have identify exists in market capabilities relevant to the project, and defining maturity, integration potential, cost implications, and deployable solutions. What we did is I don't know if you remember, or at least those who contribute to the Shield for Crowd project, we already have established, let's say, a database or a catalog of solutions where we identified the strengths, the innovation that you provided, the TRL, according to the statement that you have provided. We are doing a kind of update of this catalog in order to understand exactly what the market is offering in terms of solutions. So we do a revision and refinement of these codes and alignment with current technological solutions. Also, we did and we do a desk research in order to define other solutions that we could find on the market that they were not interested to participate to our project, or maybe they didn't receive information to answer to our RFI. So we try to also include them in this analysis table, and also RFI-based market input. This is information that we are really seeking from the technology providers in order to complete this activity. It is ongoing. I guess that in the next slide, we can show you that we had the companies analyzed so far, it's 84. And we really hope that all the companies, they complete the RFI on time so that we can use their information. We have a kind of I don't like this, balance, because we have some EU countries there are many companies from some EU countries, from the others only few companies. So we will try also to a little bit relaunch again our communication campaign to other countries in order to attract more technology providers. But the state of the, let's say, the analysis so far is that we had 84 companies analyzed and 96 solutions, because some of companies, they provided information about more than one solution. As you can see, the analysis and let's say the grouping of the TRL is higher because it's they are market solutions. So they stated their TRL. As you can see, most of it is according to the claims, it's 39, and we see that. But of course, most of them, they are high TRL solutions, of course, which is encouraging for our project. Somebody would say that, okay, if you use TRL 9 or 8, it is a normal procurement, so you no need for PCP. It is true if you are procuring one solution. Here we are not procuring one solution. The main innovation of Shield PCP is how we integrate the solution, the data, in order to provide the common operational pictures, let's say the decision making, the intelligence, all this information, how we provide them in the specific settings and pilots is the main innovation of our project, and we don't feel that there is existing solutions on the market. Yeah. Key takeaways, that already I stated them. Yeah, so it's the EU market already provides fully deployable components and subsystems. However, solutions are typically focused on specific capability areas and designed for standalone deployment or few integrations, not necessarily integrated multi-capability architecture. Implications for Shield PCP. So the PCP should not replicate mature standalone solutions. We are not asking for organizations to redesign or develop their solutions. If they have one, they need to integrate it in an innovative way in the system. So where there is no solution, of course, we encourage the development of new solutions or increase the TRL. Otherwise, it's the way you integrate it is most important for us. The innovation opportunity lies in system level integration, interoperability across capability areas. So this is very important, and operational coordination and data fusion, bringing fragmented codes into a coherent, validated ecosystem. So the key message: the EU market is technologically mature. The remaining gaps is architectural, integrative, and operational rather than purely technological. So we believe that it's not a problem of technology, a problem of how we deploy them, we integrate them, we use and we extract the data in order to provide the, let's say, actionable, what they call actionable intelligence, because this is important, because the data is there, we need to process it and extract, let's say, all the information for the decision makers during the crisis management. Yeah, and it. Now,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Youssef. So this will be all before the. So this will be all of the presentations before the coffee break. But before we'll break, are there any questions to what you've seen up until now? Okay, it looks like everyone is looking for a coffee. So please enjoy. We'll be.
One question.
Yeah.
The information that you provided for the companies Are they coming from the ship of corporate?
Yeah, part of it is coming from that project. Yeah, because the project are connected. It's a follow-up, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're restarting at 11. Okay, so I invite you to take your seats. We'll be starting now with the next presentation. Okay, so we're ready to start, and now we'll focus on the objectives of the open market consultations and also the activities that we are performing and we've done and we are going to do until the end of March.
They hear us online.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed coffee break. My name is Azra Atal. I'm a legal procurement consultant working at Corvus. And at Corvus, we are leading in this project VP2, focusing on PCP, Pre-Commercial Procurement. And here, yes, I will be tackling the OEMC objectives and activities. If you can move to the next slide. First, I would like to start with an overlook to innovation procurement. Here you see an innovation procurement roadmap chart or diagram created by European Commission. So a question, when innovation procurement happens, it happens when public buyers acquire the development or deployment of pioneering innovative solutions to address the specific mid or to long-term needs. And here you see in this diagram, there are two modalities presented. The yellow one is pre-commercial procurement, and the blue one is public procurement of innovative solutions. PCP is typically divided into phases. Here you see, but plus with phase 0, which is the preparatory phase. And it starts with identifying the needs, conducting a market analysis, and validating the results with open market consultation. And this is the step that we are at right now. If you move to next slide. Okay, we said we have two types of modality, PCP and PPI, but how to decide which path to follow and how to start at the beginning of the story. So here you see this technology readiness level chart, also created by NASA. This shows the maturity level of the technology of the solution that available in the market to define it. So the TRL1, basically the idea, and it goes all the way up to TRL9. TRL is actually actual system proven in operational environment, tested and approved and validated. So in principle, between TRL3 and TRL8, we say that there is room for pre-commercial procurement, PCP. And for after TRL8, then we are focusing on public procurement of innovative solutions. And if you move to next slide. And how do we do this? We talked about the preparatory phase. Can you click one more time? Just, yeah, no. Sure. We have a circle one more time. Yeah, okay, that's it. So this is important. This shows where we are right now, if you didn't know. So we are here at the preparatory phase, but it started with the needs assessments. Of course, we identified the needs. We made our research homework to see what is available in the markets. And then we did the prioritization to understand which needs are prior to us, to our needs as public procurers, public buyers. And then, of course, we validate or we check the market with SOTA state-of-the-art analysis. And this was already presented by Youssef. You have seen the work that has been done within this project. And then we move to open market consultation as a next step, which is the step where we are at, to check whether our findings are accurate as presented in the market, or of course for further information, for further knowledge comments. And here the aim is checking whether our requirements are realistic, whether our timeline is feasible, and the budget distribution and everything. So this is an open dialogue between market and the procurers. And following that, I can say that the preparatory phase goes all the way until procurement strategies. So following that, we will have a business case. It's already in parallel going work. And then we will have a procurement strategy. It's also an ongoing work. And then after that, we will go to tendering phase, which is this one. And then the other is post-contract phase. But yeah, these are not our focus today. So if you move to next slide. So what is an open market consultation? An open market consultation is a formal but non-binding dialogue between the markets and the public procurers. And here, the public procurers, the contracting authorities are consulting the market to understand whether their findings and their expectations are accurate, and how to adapt them, how to change them to make them more realistic and to make the procurement really happen at the end of the process. So there are important things to know. Is an open market consultation binding? If I joined as a company to an open market consultation activity, do I have to follow the rest of the path? No, this is a non-binding activity. This is just to exchange information. And also another thing, this is an open dialogue. It means that we don't have exchanges, opinion exchanges behind the doors. So whatever we do has to be always open, transparent, and also the information we provide to one supplier also absolutely has to be provided to other suppliers as well. That's why we have the open market consultation webinars in this event. So this is open to everyone who wishes to be informed in this project. And if you move to next slide. So why do we conduct an OMC, an open market consultation? There are, of course, benefits for both sides, for its side and for also procurers. The aim here is bridging the gap between the supply side and demand side. And also in this way, suppliers are informed about the needs and expectations of the procurers. And for procurers, they are informed about what the market has to offer, including how is the supply chain, whether it is possible, the level of possibility to deploy the solution available in the market, or if it is not available, how to improve it. And also it gives us a way on European resilience and autonomy to understand and to make the procurement available for the environment within Europe. And in this way, procurers can cross-check prior art analysis and IPR search, which we have already done and presented to you. And it's available, of course, it's available in this project, and also there's in this presentation, and also in open market consultation documents, there is a section for preliminary findings of the SOTA. So in this way, we hope that you will be able to engage with our findings, with our homework, and that you can provide feedback. And in this way, also, it helps public procurers to analyze the standards landscape, the key contractual setup and conditions for the procurement, and the feasibility of the business case. And for suppliers, the important part for them is that they are informed about the public procurers' needs, so that in the future they can also be a part of this chain. And if you move to next slide. So the objectives, we have already talked about it, and we have an overview, an idea of what is an open market consultation and what we aim here. It's to sum up, we are here to validate the findings of SOTA and to discuss the viability of possible technical and financial provisions, functionalities, and also to raise awareness of the industry and relevant stakeholders, including other users regarding the upcoming PCP. And also we are here to collect insights from the industry and relevant stakeholders, also end users, to fine-tune the tender specifications. And if we move to next slide. So why it is important? Here you see a decision chart. This is the important part, and this makes it more simple. We are asking a question to us and to the market whether the solution I need is available. So if the answer is available and whether a significant innovation gap is needed. So the answer is if there is indeed a significant gap in the market, then we go for PCP to fulfill that gap. And if the answer is no, there is no significant gap, then we can go for a PPI, which means that we directly start deploying the solution. And we can move to the next slide. So the role here, the OEMC plays a crucial role in the whole map of innovation procurement. It enables us to cross-check the previous market analysis and helps us validate the innovation potential of the need. And it provides feedback on how to raise interest from the market, to answer to the upcoming call for tender, the types of players on the market and what they can offer. And also it creates awareness within the suppliers. And it allows us to cross-check the feasibility and the market acceptance of the expected foreseen contract setup. And if you move to the next slide. So here you see the timeline of the OEMC activities. Everything has started with the publication of the prior information notice on tender electronics daily. This is when we announced the market that we are looking for a solution to address the need within the scope of the Shield PCP as described in the Shield PCP. And then following that, we published the OEMC document, which includes the basic information about the challenge, about the project, the participation requirements, and also including the questionnaire, EU survey questionnaire, which was published at the same time, request for information questionnaire. This is I will also tackle this in more detail in a few slides, but yeah, this is the way that we actually exchange actively opinion, because we had asked some questions and we require some feedback. And then we had the national webinars in each local language to engage with the markets within those countries in a more close way. So it has been done between 27 and 29 of January. So today we're having the last OEMC event in this regard, which is in English here in Paris, in beautiful city. And now we are looking forward to the deadline of the submission of the answers for request for information questionnaire. I'll also put the link in the chat for your ease. And if you have any access issues so far, if somehow you couldn't open or access the link, then please let us know so we can check it. The deadline is, as mentioned, is 12th March 2026, and then within the following week, we will prepare a report, an open market consultation report, summarizing all of the activities we have done, starting from the prior information notice, the language, local language webinars, this OEMC event, and of course, most importantly, the RFI answers. And then following that, it will be the end of the OEMC activities. And we can move to the next slides here. This is a zoom into OEMC activity milestones. And you can also find the links, the link to prior information notice, the link to OEMC document, and also, I also put it in the chat, also available here. It will be available again in the next slide, the RFI questionnaires. This is, it is really important for us to receive as much as answers that we can. And we have planned the OEMC webinars in different languages, and today is the last one, and then the findings will be published through an OEMC report. It's important to note that it will be anonymized, so none of the company names or solution names or trademarks or any of it will be specifically mentioned. We can move to the next slide. Yes, so with a closer look to the RFI questionnaire, here, if you click the link, you will see first this part. This is a basic information and disclaimers about the project, and then we ask questions about your company information, the name, website, email addresses, contact person, and title of the person in order to identify the answers. And we move to next one. So then we have 3 sections in the questionnaire. First one is PCP challenge and requirements. Here we ask questions about the challenge, and we try to validate the requirements that we have identified at the beginning of the project. And first, it starts with asking a question whether you're aware of any existing technology to address the challenge within the scope of Shield PCP. And then we are asking whether you can engage with any of the use cases pilots, put it that way, that you have been also presented in the previous sections. And also we have asked questions about the number of months for each phase and number of budgets for each phase. It is important to note that we have limitation here, not because of us, it's because of the project timeline and project budget. So for the number of months, it shouldn't exceed 23 months in total. So we ask you to divide the number of months for each phase. And for budgets, also we have the project budget is 3.6 million, but it is important to note that this budget will be divided across phases and different suppliers. So it's not like one supplier will receive all of the budget from phase 1 to phase 3. Of course, we need to allow or how to say, divide the opportunity to use this budget to develop the solution. And if you move to next one, the second part of the RFI questionnaire is state-of-the-art analysis. And here we ask questions about the existing solutions and what market can offer and whether there is a room from your perspective for technological development beyond the state-of-the-art, beyond what we have already identified in both OEMC document and throughout these webinars. And also we ask questions about the TRL levels, what I have just explained what it is, and also TRL levels for each of the main requirements from your perspective. And we move to the next one. This is the last part of the RFI questionnaire, additional questions. So here we ask about how you would possibly join the tender, whether you would join as a single entity or as a consortium with a couple of suppliers teaming up with them. So if I answer this, do I have to join it? No, it's not binding. So this is just the exchange opinion. And also we have questions about the gaps, whether there is any technological, legal, ethical, or operational gaps, risks, and how would you mitigate those risks? And if you move to next one, if you have any questions about this part, please feel free to let me know. Thank you.
Okay, so you heard a lot of presentations, a lot of about the requirements, about the state of the art, what we did up till now. So now is the time for a more interactive sessions when we will be asking you questions and you will have the time to ask questions. So I encourage you to use this opportunity so we can answer any doubts that you may have related to the procurement process, to the scope of the project, etc. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Will you present this one?
Sure, okay. Okay, so how we are gonna do it? First of all, we once again will remind you about the pilot. So we'll have a short overview of the pilot and its scope. And then we'll have additional questions related to the main components and the market value. So we'll have a set of questions for each of the pilots. And the aim of the question is to capture how the market solutions could contribute to the different stages of each of the scenarios. And we would like to dedicate approximately half an hour for this time. And then we'll collect the results and that will be part of the open market consultations report. And all of the answers will be anonymized. So how we're gonna do it? We have the QR codes here, so I'd like to ask you to scan the code. And for the people online, you can also scan the code and I will send the link in a second.
Yeah. Otherwise.
Can we get the QR code?
Yes, back.
We don't have time.
Yeah, we are back. Just a sec. Okay, here we go. I just needed to put the link for the people online.
A new camera should arrive, I think, after the session.
Of course.
It's going so.
We are using a computer to access from the main part. And Mentimeter to see how many are on it.
Yeah. Everybody has the link? Okay, I see that you're already responding, so please wait a little bit before we go there. So we'll go once again, like a little bit through the pilots, and we would like to show the questions before you will be answering them. But we have 42 people connected.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. So yeah, just I mean that this is information that's already provided. Just a refresh to update our memory. Of course, we bombarded you with a lot of information this morning, with emails, websites. You had everything. We would like to hear from you guys. So information about your capabilities. There is the RFI that was presented. This is the formal way to present answer to the questions. We repeated again, it's not binding, which means that also companies that are not today with us, either physically or online, or they will not answer to the RFI, they will be entitled to participate. They can participate to the tender. So this is, we need to repeat it every time. So there is no link between this and doesn't provide any advantage. The information that we provide, however, will help us fine tune the requirements and fine tune what we would like to ask from you. So if we receive feedback from you, information about, hey guys, what you are asking cannot be achieved providing justification explanation, and we see that all of you, most of you, they are going in that direction for specific requirements, we can understand that maybe it's time, maybe that not to put it mandatory. Indication sometimes also about the distribution, I guess, of the budgets between phase 2, phase 3, because you say that no, we need it would be more safe to relocate some of the budget. We are still on time to do it. So all kind of information, please provide your advice. It's really important for us in order to finalize the requirements and make your job easy, because we'd like that in general, our objective is to get the technologies. How to get them, would like you that you are put in comfortable way in the best conditions so that you can achieve what we want. So this is important. So we have a budget and we would like to give it to the companies. How, when, it's doesn't matter for us actually, as long as we reach what we wanted in terms of technology. So this is why important that we would like to get this information, your feedback from these activities that we are doing now. So it is interactive session. We wanted at the beginning to open discussion, but of course, it's better that to do it in a way that is structured to stimulate discussion so that you can provide your feedback. And we are doing it using the different pilots, and we provided some technical questions. There is the Mentimeter as you have connected. And we said that the first pilot, it's let's say, talking about panic at football station. It was proposed by the colleagues from Slovakia. And it is, let's say, in the stadium settings, and the situation, of course, it's a high-risk football match escalates into mass panic when ultras ignite smoke shells inside the stadium, causing fires, reduced visibility, blocked escape routes. And believe me, in several security projects that we have been doing, especially in the protection of public spaces, crowd management is always put at the high level, because it's for the security forces. It's really important to have a let's say a kind of control that the situation is maintained under control, and whenever there is a problem, there is a way already know how to do it in a controlled manner. They continue to receive all the information real time, and also the timely decision making is really important. So this is why our project concentrates really on the crowd management. And here, as you see, in the colleagues from Slovakia, they have focused on the fact that they would like early detection of suspicious groups, behaviors, and prohibited objects, identification of perpetrators, real-time common operational picture, multi-agency coordination, really important in our project because it was put at the heart. So we're not talking about only in such situation, different actors that are there, and they need to be coordinated in a way that let's say contain the problem and manage it. And crowd movement monitoring, because it's an evolving situation. Crowds is unpredictable. They follow different situations, and they panic, they change their behavior, depending also on the security issues that are in the scene. So it's really important also that this is, we have it, and the communication to spectators in general, to the crowd is very important. But also, I guess that in our requirements, communication, we made not only to the crowd, but also to the different security actors, because also they need to receive indications on what they need to do on the field. So it's really important. Yeah, so yeah, continue. What we had, I guess that it is step-by-step questions on Mentimeter. So we start with the first question, and when we collect the answers from you, we go to the next one. We believe that, of course, not all technology providers they will, for example, the first one is on crowd analytics, maturity and scalability. So it's a specific technology. We expect that answer to receive them, or of course, from the companies that they believe that they have some solution that can contribute to this part. So it's the question, for example, the first one is, how mature and scalable are your real-time crowd analytics capabilities in high-density stadium environments? Of course, imagine that we are talking about maturity. It's really important because many organizations state or claim that they have different technologies. Some of them may be used in other settings, not in a stadium. Others may be already tested in stadium. So we'd like to get this feedback from you about we provided some kind of options in terms of TRL and where they were validated. So really important for us to understand the availability of these technologies from the technology providers. It is open to people that are here, but also online. I guess that's so far we have we saw that more than 40 were connected. So we'll start. I mean, that's I don't expect that all of them will answer, but of course we will give a kind of time to receive the answers. We expect answers only from technology providers, not also for example projects partners, according to my understanding. So please provide your answers. And of course, if you have any feedback in the meanwhile that you would like to open a discussion to say something, we can also start talking. So it's an open discussion. Yeah, we'll. I see that some technologies are also less than 4, between 4 and 5 TRL. Of course, the understanding. Sorry?
We cannot read. So.
Yeah. I'm trying to. Anyway, you had the answers here. The fact that we are seeing the results in real time. And as you can see, just to see the breakdown, so tier one solution that is very mature, so it's between 8 and 9, 5 they are between 6 and 7, 0, 1 on 5, 6, and so for others they have low TRL. Of course, we expect that maybe there are some technologies, but they were not deployed in real settings. They were not tested. We are still within the framework of the PCP. Also, the solutions that start even from 3, 4, they are welcome to participate to the PCP, which is important for us to encourage different kinds of innovations.
Does anyone still need some more time to answer these questions or can we move to the next one? So this is question number 2.
Maybe you can give me the other slide.
Yeah, sure. Here we go.
Okay, the second question also related to the first pilot is integration with existing stadium infrastructure. So here we're talking about different solutions, not only the one about crowd analytics. And the only thing is that we are talking about proven or already had something integrated in this kind of systems. So to what extent can your solution integrate with existing CCTV, VMS, PA, and I mean different legacy systems and access control systems at pilot sites? So we say that at stadium, but normally it could be also whatever other situation that manages different information sources. We give examples of CCTV, VMS, so they are video analytics, but of course it could be different situations also for data sources, sensors, IoT devices, other, let's say, information that are providing either raw data or even advanced, let's say, processes, the alerts, because sometimes the system, they can provide different kind of data depending on, let's say, the sophistication of the system. So we have 5 options we provided. So plug and play integration via standard APIs and protocols. So no, it's minimal adaptation required. Of course, you already have your own well-defined data model. You already provide your, let's say, you know exactly who will consume the data, which are the information, how the level of integration is really minimal. Integration feasible with moderate configuration. Of course, this is it will interpret exactly how much effort needed in order to integrate your solutions. Integration possible, but requires custom developments per pilot site. Requires partial infrastructure upgrades or update, additional hardware deployment, requires substantial infrastructure replacement or redesign. So, of course, this is, you know exactly your solutions. Would like to receive some feedback also from this one, and also we can see where we are. Of course, when we talk about integration, it's not only, of course, providing the data, it's also consuming data from other data sources. So it's important also to consider this one, because sometimes we have market solutions that, of course, they do their work, their processing, they provide some output data, and they say that, okay, we can expose them via API and provide, and others can use our data. But of course, we expect that some of the solutions will need to use existing data feeds in order to process their information. So it's important that when we're talking about integration on both sides to work in a, let's say, in order to achieve what we need. And integration is meant also compared to existing system from one side, but also the combination between the different actors that will be, let's say, working together in the projects in order to define and deliver the prevent PCP solutions. Okay, I see also here 19. Is that the last one was 19 answered?
Yeah, because we have like everybody connected also from
Okay.
consortium, so that's why we have more some people's rights. So we can
Yeah, but still.
move back.
Okay, good. The question number 3 is real-time evacuation and alert synchronization. Can your system dynamically calculate evacuation routes and synchronize public alerting under strict latency conditions? So it's very specific. We expect that those that have these features in the systems to answer. So the options here is fully automated route optimization and multi-channel alerting validated under real stress conditions. Real-time route optimization validated, alerting integration partially tested, route modeling available but requires further optimization. Static or semi-dynamic evacuation planning, and of course, no, I don't remember, exist there hidden but I guess I expect that there is
No integrated evacuation optimization capability. Next, me to move to the management report.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, just what I saw from differently from the first answer. In the second and the third, we saw more, let's call it mature or market-ready solutions. The first one, it had more TRL, low TRL, which is, I mean, also could be understood. Go to the
Next level.
yes. Okay, so the second pilot on the drone attack during a match day. This is let's say located in the Metropolitan Stadium of Madrid. I guess you said the colleague said the one that's where the Atletico Madrid plays. Okay. And also it's there are different, I mean, beyond the fact that of course Policía Nacional is the main leader of and responsible also of this kind of security within this kind of event. The others, let's say other security actors or anyway stakeholders that are involved, I guess they are supposed by the La Liga, some 112 is normally the European security number, of course, I guess other police forces in general. The local police, we imagine that in all urban situations, local police are always there collaborating with the other forces, Metro, MT, so that different forces that are involved. The main problem is that football match is disrupted by weaponized and uncontrolled drones, causing explosions, mass panic, and dangerous crowd surges towards exits and metro access points. So we imagine that during the crowd, when there are this kind of explosions, people they will start escaping, and really human for the person they become themselves a weapon, because of course a lot of problems happen when there is this mass panic. So Shield PCP focus on detection, tracking, and neutralization of commercial and weaponized drones, resilient anti-drone response. Resilience because of course we are in a place that there are lots of people. So I mean that we cannot use whatever other solutions that maybe in the military guys they could use in other settings. Of course, the common operational pictures is there also multi-agency, as you can see, lots of security actors they are there. What else? I mean, the crowd source detection, evaluation, flow management here. I mean, it's fundamental. I mean, in a stadium, managing the crowd and the evacuation routes, it's a must. Secure public communication to reduce panic, and guide safe evaluation is really important, and it's also at the heart of what we are looking for. So what we have prepared in terms of questions. So the first one to which we would like to get some answers is also would like to understand the maturity. So we start with the maturity of the technologies, if you have them, and or you know that you will be collaborating with another company that will be providing these solutions. Is what is the maturity of your drone detection and trajectory tracking capabilities? So if you have them, please help us understand the maturity of these solutions. Operationally deployed with validated performance in urban stadium environments, demonstrated in real operational pilots with partial urban validation and tested in controlled environments. Early stage prototype requiring further development, concept stage. I believe that's also in the last, I mean, at least 5 years, we have been involved in many projects developing solutions for the anti-drone, capabilities. So of course, we're aware about what exists. There are also some, for example, I saw some material solutions that were used in Milano in the last Olympic Games. So there was some solutions, but of course, we would like to understand the companies that were involved, what is in terms of technologies that they already have. So please provide your answers. I mean, at least in these specific questions, I wouldn't expect as many answers. I mean, because it's very specific technology. But still 14, I mean, it's encouraging to see some 15 now.
I think that somebody else needs additional time, or can we move to the next one? Okay.
Yeah, the question, second question here is provision versus integration of drone technologies, budget and time. We know that also this could be also a challenge. Let's say within the PCP constraints that you already know, we saw also what we have presented also before. How would you address drone technologies for this pilot? So you provide complete drone detection and counter drone solution within PCP budget and time frame. So this is, you provide detection components and integrate with existing counter drone systems and at pilot size. Integrate exclusively with radar drone systems deployed locally. And you use only the data that they provide from existing systems. A hybrid approach depending on pilot site maturity and available infrastructure, or not feasible within PCP timeframe budget without scope reduction. So just to understand this, because of course this pilot, from the requirements we have seen, we expect that of course not only software-based solution, but of course it requires also some components or the hardware to be also integrated abroad within the scope of the project. So we would like to understand what is your availability and what of course you see is feasible and how it could be reached within the framework of the project. It's already encouraging to see that we have 4 companies providing full solutions. 3 are also in any way integrating with existing, but also they can provide some of the solutions. I guess that's at least for this one, we could move. Okay, so also the question number 3 is air-ground data fusion and impact prediction. Can your system fuse drone trajectory data with crowd responder and infrastructure layers in real time? So it's of course we're talking about integration, especially with this one. We have different type of data when talking about trajectories. So it's something a little bit different from video feeds or other kind of data that could be normally or naturally already proven in other applications. So we're talking about integration with maybe air-ground data fusion is very important. And when it comes this data to the different systems, so to integrate them. So options, we have the fully integrated air-ground fusion engine with predictive impact modeling validated operationally, real-time fusion possible, predictive modeling partially implemented, basic fusion capability, predictive features require further development, data visualization only or no current capability for multi-layer fusion. So yeah, I mean the answers so far. I see that first one there is no point integration, and the others, of course, the various level. This one shows exactly there is a strong need for innovation for further development, mainly under phase 2 of the PCP, which of course technology providers will continue working on further, let's say, integration, and then to be proven in during phase 3. Okay. Now for the the pilot 3, multi-actors coordinated after a massive knife attack. So here we're talking about a pilot that take place at here in Paris, Gare du Nord, France. I expect that all of you know Gare du Nord. It's a very large station. I expect that, of course, also there is the metro station and the number of travelers, crowd, especially during peak hours. It's really impressive. So, I mean that you can imagine a situation, and when it happens, how it needs to be managed in order to let's say to manage the crowd in a safer manner. So the end user is, we have 2 end users part of the project. So they are strictly collaborating. So the French Ministry of Interior and SNCF, with the support of different security forces that are normally collaborating with these guys in, of course, in managing the different security situations. The main problem proposed here is the simultaneous knife attacks inside the station and surrounding streets cause chaos among thousands of travelers, requiring rapid understanding of the situation and coordinated multi-agency response. I guess that also this is inspired from a real situation that happened in the past. And also the focus of the project here is what exactly would like the solutions to deal with is rapid situational understanding through multi-source data fusion, shared common operational pictures, and we see here across police, transport, and rescue services, multi-agency coordination. As we said, it's really at the heart, the crowd behavior. So we'd like to analyze both from in order to understand the situation at the beginning, but also to understand the movement based on this crowd behavior analysis. Smart evacuation flow management. This is also very important because depending on the let's say on the movement, we know exactly the settings of the train station and also the surroundings. Of course, they need to propose evacuation flow to different crowd movements and targeted communication. It's at the heart, as you know. Always there is continuous communication with travelers, and of course, this is maybe differently from a stadium. It's different how they communicate here, but also still the needs, of course, to adapt to the different situations. The questions that we have prepared. So the first one, in order also to understand the maturity level, we wanted to focus on multi-agency interoperability. So how mature is your federated multi-agency integration capability? Proven interoperable platform across multiple agencies. and communication systems. Operational parts completed. Technically feasible but limited multi-agency C2A validation. Integration possible but requires substantial configuration and requires major architectural redesign. This is, we would expect some situation of like a last point, but of course we would like to put it there. Please move to the next question. Anyone still answering? 15, 16, 17. The average is 17, 18, or sometimes 19, I saw. Now we can move to the next question. Suspect tracking and behavioral detection. We put here legal compliance. It's really important because this is something that we expect that could present lots of problems. We're talking about suspect tracking, so tracking a person, how we do it based on biometrics. We cannot be able to use it if we use biometrics. Actually, it's a really important. So and also behavioral detection, how we do it based on biometric data or not. So I mean, it's really important this factor. So what is the status of your suspect tracking and behavior analytics capabilities under EU legal constraints? Operational deployment with full GDPR EU Act compliance. So really important if somebody has already some solutions deployed in Europe, we would like also, this is of course, which will be very, this is something beyond the fact that it's a math, but it could be something a plus because you can show that it was already went through different also screenings and validations, really important. Deployed in pilots, compliance framework partially formalized, technically available, requires significant adaptation to meet EU legal and ethical constraints, not currently compliant for EU deployment. So it's really important. This is to be, let's say, evaluated. It is a fundamental point in your solutions. Anyone else is still answering? Okay, so we could move to the next one. The last one under this, let's say, pilot is command hierarchy and decision workflow execution. How capable is your system in modeling and enforcing digital command hierarchies and escalation workflows? So also, that it will be important to manage these parts because different hierarchies, different forces, different actors. It's really important that when we provide access and we use the system, needs to be well implemented within the framework of the system. So fully configurable digital hierarchy engine with automated escalation validated operationally, hierarchy modeling available, escalation partially automated, basic workflow routing, advanced automation requires development, manual workflow support only, no structured digital hierarchy management capability. Okay, so let's move to the. Now we have also other, I guess, 3 or 4 questions related to the different main components categories on command center coordination, secure communication, crowd monitoring, and movement monitoring. So yeah, we could see them. And let's move also to this kind of questions. So the command center coordination, can your system, maybe sometimes put some overlap, but of course, please help us also identify all this, let's say, information based on your solutions. So can your solution provide real-time multi-source data fusion, video, sensor communication inputs into a single operational dashboard with interoperability to existing public safety systems? So of course, it's this doesn't cover many, let's say not all of it, but still it's a system, of course, that's a command center coordination. We know that there are already existing some of them on the market. Would like to understand if you cover different data types, data sources on your system, and what is its maturity level. We expect it anyway, at least in our let's call it imagination, the fact that there was no redevelopment from scratch, something that it is already using existing COP or command center coordination systems or platforms that will be you build on the existing one in order to enrich it with what we are asking, and of course adding other functionalities related to the coordination with different forces, to exist other data sources, the drone capability, the crowd behavior. So all these elements, of course, needs to be added in order to reach your command center coordination platform. So I would like to understand, of course, if you have already some mature solutions, we can Anyone is still providing answers? Yes, we see one. Last one, yeah, we can move. For the secure communication, I guess that is also important to cover this part. Can your solution ensure secure, encrypted, and resilient communication, including in high-density environments such as stations or stadiums, while interoperability with existing public safety communication network, fully compliant and deployable, technically feasible, but requires adaptation, feasible only with infrastructure upgrades, significant technical legal barriers exist, not within our current scope. With regards to the crowd monitoring capability, can your crowd monitoring situation detect and classify abnormal crowd behavior in real time while complying with the EU data protection regulations, no biometric identification? So the option, I guess, that we covered somehow in previous ones, but of course, if you could provide it with more on the crowd monitoring, because that one was on the behavior analysis. So we would like, of course, to make sure that you have also you are compliant, or you need some further development in order to make your solutions comply with the EU regulations. So different options are: yes, already compliant and validated; yes, but requires further legal ethical validation; partially limited behavioral detection capability; not currently compliant; not within our solution scope. So also, if you could contribute to this one. And the last component is movement monitoring. Can your movement monitoring technology accurately track individual and group trajectories in complex environments, indoor, outdoor, without relying on biometric identification? So it's indoor, outdoor, but also in crowded situations. So the options are: yes, validated in operational environment; yes, tested in pilot environment; technically feasible, but not yet validated, requires a combination with other technologies not feasible with PCP scope. So we were talking about movement monitoring. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is maybe also if you could help me with the maybe explaining exactly the scope, but of course this is not a technical questions. I guess it's only for you to the last question, I guess. So maybe to release you from this question and session. So it's based on your market knowledge. So it's more a market side question. What is the current market value of comparable solutions? And what is your estimated future market value of the proposed solutions? So it's purely based on your knowledge about the solutions. If you have some indications on the market value, on the prices, please provide a brief justification for your assessment, key assumptions, market trends, and benchmarks. Do we have also places where they can write? Yeah, so please, to the best of your knowledge, provide us also these indications about the market value of the solutions in order also to understand the budget side, but also for us to help us define the business case, right?
Yeah. Also, this is important for business case and also for the business team to understand the procurement cost. So of course, we know that there is not similar solution available in the market, but comparable parts. We are just asking for an estimate in euros, please, so that we can understand the future projection of the procurement cost of the solution, how much it will cost. And not the exact number, but an approximate and estimate number would really be helpful. Two answers, one for current market value, the other one for future projection in euros.
Yeah, for all of you, don't be shy. Yeah, you're here to make money. I mean, your companies. So please, I would like to receive indications about what is the market value of such solutions. Maybe in the justification, also, if you are providing only one component, you can also write it there that it is the market value according to us for this part of the platform. And what would be the estimated market value of the proposed solution is that how do you see your solutions in the future when it go through the innovation development within the Shield PCP? It will be validated with end users, so it will reach a higher TRL in the coming, let's say, years. So this is, I mean, the reason behind. As we said, I guess that in all this information, it will be anonymized. There is no link of, we will say that such company is saying that this is their price market or something like this. So it's really give us indication about evaluations from the different market actors. Yeah, maybe we can take also more time so that you can think about it. If you would like to make a phone call to your commercial guys, you are free to do it. I mean, just also we're talking about the solutions, not the company value, because maybe this is can change a little bit about the market capitalization and the value of the company.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And also this question, what I'm planning to do, if you have already answered the RFI questionnaire, we have added this question recently. For those that hasn't replied that, they will be able to also put the explanation in the RFI. But for those that have already replied, approximately 15 or 16 responses so far, I will reach out to your contact email addresses for this particular question. So yeah, no rush, but it would be still good to see some numbers to talk about it right now. But if you need more time, I will also send an email about this one. Would it be possible to make a favor? Because
I don't know. But
I can read you. One of the answers, saying the current market value in EU, 40 million euros, and future market value would be 100 million.
just speak up.
Oh, you don't.
Not only the currency, but the currency is.
Okay, sorry. Well, one of the answers says that current market value would be 40 million euros and the future market value would be 100 million euros. I don't see the justification here, but it would be really nice to see why there's a 60 million. Yeah, it's probably because the current market, there is only one or two components that is available, possibly available in the market, and for future market, we are talking about a full solution. I assume that might be causing the difference, and a little bit inflation.
Just to make sure I get the right understanding, I mean, the first question would be the actual cost of such a system, let's say, currently.
Actually, yeah, the first one is according to you, such a system,
Yeah.
yours or even on the
Yes.
market, what is the market value, the price?
Okay.
Okay, and the second one, it is more on your side, after the developments within the project,
Yes.
what would be the cost or the price of the such solution? Once it will reach a higher tier, for example, at the end of the project,
Yeah,
it will be
okay.
more mature.
Okay.
Okay.
Just to trigger some ideas, we have the question in the RFI questionnaire regarding the budgets. How would you divide the budget per phase? And the total amount is 3.6 million, but this is not going to be just only for one company. Of course, it will be divided, but you can, from there, maybe you can make some estimations to understand how much would you spend and then how much would you sell, which is the question that we are asking, the commercial value of the solution at the end of all these. And the second answer says 2.5 thousand to 1 million per site, depending on size and license per units. License per units, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, how many, I mean, also the license depends on how it will be considered. Is it license per user, license per installations, license per sites? But of course, they put it variable. So they put a fixed price, means that it covers the initial customization, installation, everything, plus the license per units. How many? I mean, depends on their, let's say, how is it, the pricing model? Each company, of course, they have a different pricing model.
So we can leave the question open, and if you will just have time to get back to it later or answer in the meantime. And now let's move the next session for the Q&A. So do you have any questions to us regarding the requirements, the pilots, the time frame, the budget, etc.? Now it's your time to ask. And don't be shy.
Is everything clear, or was something that's very I mean, just because help us make the last part of the work, because by the end of March, we need to finalize all the tender documentation. And it's really important that we receive some feedback from you. And also, if you have some questions that help us clarify better the information that we will release. And based on that, once we finalize everything, I mean, there will be no chance that, at least in theory, that will update the tender documentation. So we will go for a formal process of validating the tender documentation from the European Commission. And after that, we will release the tender publicly, and we will follow everything according to the tender process. So, and now, I guess, at least from now until the end of March, this is the time where we can shape and fine tune the tender, all the documentation. So really, we are keen to receive all your feedback. But of course, this is also, if you have any questions, something not clear, just share it with us. I mean, there is no right or wrong question. It's
Can only emphasize what Youssef says. My name is Thierry Hartmann. I'm Innovation Project Manager within the French Ministry of the Interior. That's a part of the project. And really, I think it's a chance to have this kind of procurement that allows us to have a dialogue with solution provider to adapt and to adjust our requirement. If you think that the hurdle are high, if you think that the budget is not enough, please tell us. I think it's so. I think it's a unique opportunity to dialogue with the public procurer and the public buyer. So help us to draft the workaround. It can be during the meeting, it can be during the lunch, and so and so. I can also understand some constraints, maybe your private company, but really contact all the guys that are here. We have the Spanish police, we have the Czech Ministry of the Interior, the Slovakian Ministry of the Interior, sorry. We have the French Ministry of the Interior, we have the SNCF. So don't fear to ask us questions, because it really will help us to refine the recruitment and to build this common challenge, to have something at the end that we can use. Yeah.
Yes, we have the brave person.
Thomas Joyon, I'm the founder of Track company. The question regarding IP. Obviously, we're talking about innovation, we're talking about TRL, which are fairly early stage for some of them. We're talking about experience. We've seen in some public tenders in the past that there is a little footnote saying that all IP would belong to whoever except us, or partially to us. What is the position of the PCP on this in regards to IP? Is IP remaining 100% to the consortium or to the company, or is it part of it which is transferred to?
So, like the work on what you're doing during the development phases, the IP rights stay with the company providers or with the consortium. So it depends if it's one or more. And then we have the clause for a time for exploitation of the IPR rights, which are 5 years, if I'm not mistaken, for after the end of the last phase. And if the solution is not exploited, then like the IPR rights would go back to the public buyers. And the idea is that the public buyers will have free access to the results of the Shield PCP. If there is something that, maybe from the procurement side, you would like to add?
Yeah, that's perfectly true. To put it in a complicated way, to make it easier, we have a few types of IPR. For instance, for this kind of project, we say background IPR, sideground IPR, and foreground IPR. Background IPR, which you already have before we met. So that's always yours. And yeah, of course, these are all arrangements on the agreements, but I'm talking about the general rule. So the general rule for background IPR, it always belongs to the company. Sideground is something else that you mistakenly, unintentionally developed during the project, but it's not directly related to project. So that's up to discussion who owns it. Foreground, what I think we are curious about, the results. So with the project. And that's the general practice, is that contractor has it. So suppliers have the rights. But of course, there are conditions. As Nina mentioned, commercial exploitation is an important one, because of course, this is a huge investment. So whenever the company develops it and receives the money to develop it and eventually holds all of the IPRs, the consortium, and of course funded by EU, expects the results to be exploited commercially so that we can benefit from it as well. So, and then the royalty schemes, and they're all a different type of discussion that will develop by time with in negotiation with the suppliers. So that's something else. And what public procurers gain if all of the IPRs belong to suppliers, they have the right to use. So the license, that's the general practice. So, yeah.
Thank you for this. Very clear. Do you have any plans for transfer of manufacturing and transfer IP used in the PCP, meaning that we've got the IP being, the IPR is either belonging 100% to the company, or part of it is part of the PCP project. Can the PCP transfer manufacturing to a third party? So let's say a European country decide that they don't want to produce in France, for example, they want to use their own usual prime supplier and decide that they can exploit the IP locally. Basically a transfer of IP for manufacturing. So you own the IP, you get royalty, but you don't get the production, you don't get the sales behind it. Is there a plan for this?
Please verify if I understand correctly. So we are talking about a company, a supplier in France, and they have the rights for ground rights, and they're awarded by the contract, and they're developing the solution. And because of XYZ reasons, they decided to move the manufacturing to another country.
No, it's actual Ministry of Interior of whatever country.
Public buyer, okay.
Yeah, public buyer, who decides that they want this to be produced by a prime manufacturer. Give you an example is we've got the IP and the French Ministry of Interior say, yeah, great, they got the IP, we're gonna pay them maybe royalties around that, or we own part of the IP, so we're gonna pay part of it, and we're gonna decide that Thales is gonna manufacture it, for example. As an example, just.
Yeah, well, it's really difficult to provide a general aspect, but there are some rules that I can already say. The public buyers and the contractors that we are talking, they all have to be within European, so within the scope of Europe.
Yeah.
So for granting some parts of the rights, it can be the rights to use, the rights to license, the right to commercially benefit from the solution. This can be all distributed by the royalty scheme. So you can say that, okay, we can agree this will be all clarified in the framework agreement and phase contract. So whatever I am saying is just theoretical explanations. For example, this could happen. French Ministry of Interior, public buyer, they want to give the right to use to another company.
Yeah.
So, and that company could be private or public. That's your question. So in principle, if they have right to use it, they should be able to do so. But in a PCP setting, then we would need to discuss the royalty schemes. And also for private company, this is more difficult. I cannot really recall any example, but this can be, there are different types of setting. For instance, there is this impact licensing that was recently introduced by the European Help Desk, which allows, this is totally theoretical and it's very fun to me, but I'm sorry if it's a bit confusing. Impact licensing means that we have the framework agreements and we have already developed everything. And this is for, let's say, public buyer A, B, C, okay, from 3 different countries in Europe. And what happens if out of sudden company D, company F wants to join it? So impact licensing clauses allows this to happen. And they all, is it free of charge? They have to prove the interest of public. So this is a strong public safety issue, and we need to boost the safety of the European community. So that's they prove it, and they have the right to use it. Of course, the royalty schemes, how much they have to pay, that's another discussion. But in principle, the idea of PCP, yes, we should be able to do so. So it's not just, for instance, this company ABC. It should be for also available other European public buyers to benefit from the same solution, the work that we have put forward in. I hope I answered it. I'm sorry if I put it in a. Okay.
Yeah, but just without the detail, that also it's something that is being defined now also within the consortium about the IP strategy. The PCP instrument itself, its main objective is from one side to meet a security need or a need in general. That's normally the user, they are struggling finding a solution. So they say that we are not finding a market solution. So we would like to give money to companies in order to bring their low TRL to a high TRL. But also the PCP would like to encourage the companies to commercialize, because this is important, commercialize the solution by, of course, giving them the IP of the solution, so that we're not requiring, unless there are some different clauses. Of course, as long as they engage in commercializing the solution, so there is this callback clause after 4 years if they don't demonstrate that they're making efforts and commercializing to get the ideas to reach what we need. At the same time, we'd like to encourage companies to commercialize and sell these solutions.
What I learned from this discussion, we need to have a clear statement, meaning what will happen in the scheme. I think this kind of process is also in the interest of the European economy
general. So we have to take that in account. This kind of discussion is quite helpful to help us to take that in consideration. So, well received. There was another question, I think.
Yeah, my question was, what is the limit of what we can ask in budget for phase in terms of type of expense? For instance, person, material buying, hardware prototype, or what is the limit?
I mean, it's there is a, but you can go. I mean, the difference between the cost structure, how much
Do you want
most
to
of it
go
is
there? Yeah.
personnel.
It's like we have
There's a question about the cost distribution per phase, how much they can spend on personnel, equipment, solution design, etc. But I will say I don't really recall any restrictions on that. For instance, you have to use 50% of it in personnel and 30% on equipment. I think you have flexibility. Yeah, I will say that you have flexibility there. But you have limitations for the amount, because for amount per phase, it's limited. So, for instance, this scenario would make things difficult. Let's say you were granted 100K for phase one, which is the solution design, something to be done on paper, and then you come and say that I spent majority of the money on developing a prototype, which is phase 2. And now I need more money to afford my personnel. Then that's not what would be agreed in the phase contracts and framework agreements, because this is awarded phase by phase. For first phase, yeah, everything will be more clear in the tender documents and framework agreements and phase contracts. You will be granted that money only to perform the tasks and specifications detailed in the phase contract and framework agreements. So, yeah.
Yeah, but typically,
Yeah.
PCP fund, most of the code, I guess that there is some indication on the personal costs. You cannot also fund most of the budget buying or getting the license from the solution that exists in the market. So we would like to buy some innovation more. So there will be some indication, at least some caps with regards to how much you can spend. There is also budget also for hardware, software that is necessary for the implementing the work, especially for phase 3, where we need to test the solutions. But I guess that we will have a clear indication, give indications on this one.
Yes, indeed, that's a very good point. I was just discussing with Adra about the hardware, because we do have limitations for the hardware. So more than 50% needs to be dedicated to research and development activities. So you can, of course, buy hardware if you need for, for developing the prototype, but we need to ensure that most of the main part of the budget is for research and development activities. But in any case, everything will be detailed and specified in the tender documents. Yes.
I have a question. When the suppliers are going to submit their application, they have to provide a budget for all the phases. Like they have to imagine they will be selected for all the phases.
Yes, the estimated budget, yeah.
So it always will have to stick with what we have allocated for each of the phases. Like here you have the estimates that for now we have for each of the phases. And this will have to be divided by the numbers of providers that we also have for each of the phases. So for example, for the solution design, we have 450,000 euros, but this is for the 5 suppliers that we'll have in this phase.
Yeah, which is 90K, I guess, for the solution design. And I guess it's a few months, 3 months. 3 months duration. Once you will be granted and awarded the contract, you will have 3 months to develop the real design of the solution, which is of course differently with more details compared to the application phase. So you need to provide the technical details about your solution, and based on that there will be an evaluation, and based on this 3 will be invited to phase 2, and then of course there will be another contract signed, and they will have the let's say their budget according to the initial estimations, and there is also caps here. we have 2.2 million, and we expect to have three consortiums or organizations working. And that's one, I guess it's 9 months, and you will have, this is the biggest budget where you really make the development and test the solutions. We're also trying to include also a kind of testing, validation, early validation at the end phase 2. And based on that, we will invite 2 test solutions to in the, let's say, the piloting, where we test the solutions in the operational environments. So, and imagine that your solutions will be tested in 3 locations. So this is important that each solution needs to be tested and compared in France, Spain, and Slovakia.
Any other questions? If not, you can always ask us during the lunch break or afterwards, like still we have a few hours ahead of us. So there's always time to ask questions. Yes?
May I ask a question too? It's just to, it's a question from us to you, and I would welcome your answer. It's about the management of your cash flow during the phases, because we are also eager to know how to address the financing, the payment, for example. So if you understand correctly, there will be 3 contracts signed, and our ideas was initially to, for phase 1, for example, to give 30% at the signature and then 70% upon completion of the 3 months. This was the initial idea. So do you think it works? And then for the second and the third one, for the second and the third phase, we were also thinking of doing 2 payments. But our question was to know whether, considering the length, you would prefer like interim payments, sequential, for example, 30%, 20% after, I don't know, 5 months, and then another 50% at the end. This is something that is for us quite interesting to get your feedback, because this will be integrated in the payment scheme of the contract, of the tender documents.
Be honest.
Okay. The upfront payment, how big do you think is relevant?
Start working.
To start working. How much do you?
We are a startup, so we need money.
So, and about the, sorry, I have lots of questions, but about the bank guarantees. For example, if we give you, I don't know, 50% upfront, because it's about risk management for us. Is it okay if we say, okay, we give you 50% of upfront, but we need a pre-financing guarantee?
You can get an assessment of the financial solvency of the company. Other means.
So it means that the bank guarantee is an option that we should clearly dismiss?
I think to answer your question, it's several things depending on the size of the company. That's one thing. The second of all is that scheduling multiple payments means a lot of admin work on our side. So that means that at one point you might want to get 100% at the end, especially for the phase 1. Let's say I don't want to do admin at all for paperwork, and get 100% at the end, so I don't have admin. And having to jungle into, especially if we look at European level, at local level, I think it's quite right, but at European level, it's going to be very difficult. I think the difference between phase 1 and phase 2 and 3 is that phase 1 is paperwork. So I think payment at the end of the day, 100% at the end, 30% at the beginning doesn't really matter, because if you're not able to sustain the first phase on paperwork, regardless of the story, you're not going to be able to do anything with the rest. So I think that could be a selection criteria as well. Is if you pay 30% at the beginning, 78% at the end, it doesn't matter. For phase 2 and 3 is a bit different, because especially for early TRL labeled companies, if they're going to have to produce, probably do 1-2 iterations, especially the one doing hardware. Software is a bit different, but hardware is you're going to have to pay for production. So having late payment it's creating a big gap, especially with the delays. But so big. So phase one is, in my opinion, does every matter. Probably not going to be very popular with us, but at the end of the day, it's paperwork. If you can't survive the first phase, there's no way you're going to be able to survive the second one. So it's
Well, in our case at least, the paperwork is written by engineers, which tend to like to get their money by the end of the month. So I think that it may be, we have leaked that in other calls, okay, where you have the option to request the advance payment, given some conditions. Or if you prefer not to, then you can wait until the end of the phase. Of course, I share the view with respect to when materials and manufacturing inflows are required. This puts an additional financial pressure, which needs to be acknowledged. But again, I think that the advanced payment, we would definitely like to see that. And in terms of the financial risk and yourself being on the safe side, I think that you have mechanisms to establish the financial viability of an organization without requiring a bank guarantee. Maybe in some cases when this solvency or this solidity is not so clear because it's a smaller company or whatever, then you can record to a bank guarantee, but not in other cases.
But we have to find the one size fits all, so for transparency and fairness. So that's why I was curious to get your feedback.
There was
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, from the financial assessment accountability, I would say for the private company, that's the beginning also. I would say that there is, I enjoyed the track, the comments for track for the first phase. Prefers some very low burden in terms of administration, so you can have one payment, one down payment, whatever the limit is we define. But concerning the phase two, we have to. I would like to make the observation that there we have one fiscal year transitioning to another fiscal year. So it's very important that we know in advance how much money we could. Let's say, have all our respective accounts so that the fiscal year is visible. We offer visibility. It's very important for the, let's say, private owned company or SME.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No more questions from our side? Okay. Oh, it's important, so then they will know how all the payments gonna be arranged. Any questions from your side? Okay, so before we will take the lunch break, I'll just like to go back. And the timelines for when it will be published and how it's gonna work. So first of all, as Azra already said, the open market consultation is a non-binding exploratory process designed to gather structured input from all the technology providers, the research organizations, and innovators. And the input that we will receive through the RFI questionnaires that some of you already answered, and also the questionnaire and the OMC events that will help us to validate and refine the requirements that will be part of the tender, assess the feasibility of the technological readiness, and also to identify any potential risks and gaps and opportunities for innovation. So as for the RFI questionnaire, it will remain open until the 12th of March, until 5 p.m. So we encourage everybody to fill in the questionnaire and just to provide your answers. Then those answers will be analyzed and will be part of the open market consultations report, which will publish at the end of March. And all of those results will be anonymized, so there will be no mentions of your company names. And the outcomes will help us once again to finalize the procurement strategy, refine the technological and functional requirements, and prepare the future tender documentations. And all updates regarding the RFI questionnaires, the reports will be available on the project website and on our social media channels as well. As for the call of tender, so it will be published in May 2026, and we will be having the time for the reception of bids from June until the end of August. So we will have 3 months after the publication of tenders to submit your offers. And the call for tenders will outline all the requirements. We'll have the descriptions of the pilot sites over there, and the evaluation criteria on how your proposals will be evaluated. And the evaluation will consider technical innovation and feasibility, cost and value for money, operational impact and scalability, and also social and ethical impact. So it's all of the parts of the requirements that you've seen earlier today. And then the tenders will be awarded in October. So for the month of September, we'll have the time to go through all the offers, evaluate them, read them. In October, it will be the announcement, and also the first phase will start in October. And the bids will be evaluated from the administrative perspective, so eligibility checks, and then assessments against exclusion and selection criteria. So there will be fail or pass criteria, and we'll have some technological requirements criteria that will be weight criteria. So all of this will be further on described in the tender documents, but you can be now you can know that there will be 3 different ways that the offers will be evaluated. Yes, and this is it. So I hope we will receive a lot of tenders from you with your names over there, and that we will see some of you, or maybe all of you, in October for the beginning of phase 1. So I don't know if you have any questions of what is coming up with the timeline. No. So now we have the lunch break, but before we do, we'll have a group photo. So where are we taking it?
So we'll use this counter. So I ask you to stay behind it. From this plant to this column, I will try, to moderate you. Of course, this person, taller like me, so like 3 or something, should be the last row, and maybe smaller and the first row, but I don't compare. This photo will be added to the social media, so if anyone is going to be included,